We're joined now by Sheldon Thomas, who was in a gang many years ago and now helps young people involved in gang culture. Good evening to you, Sheldon. Thanks for talking to us tonight. I wonder if first I could get your reaction to the Home Secretary's comments. Do you find them helpful?
No, obviously not. I don't find her comments helpful at all. And considering the fact that both herself as the Home Secretary and Mark Rowley as the the person in charge of the Met, have both denied institutional racism within the police force, it makes matters worse, because if you're not going to address some of the issues and concerns that the Black community have had for decades, for you to suggest to ramp up stop and search when you know part of the problem with the Black community is that the Black community mistrusts the police, have done so for at least 50, 60 years, even going back to my days. There's a mistrust of police, of the way they carry out stop and search in certain areas, especially in the Black communities.
So it sounds to me like you're saying it's going to get worse. I mean, what can be done then to improve relations then between police and those local communities?
Well, one of the things that can happen, which is still struggling to happen, even after Lord Scarman's report in 1981, Macpherson report, we've got reports from David Lammy about the prison system, and now the Casey report. Every single report have come out talking about institutions that has racism or systemic racism at the heart of its foundation. One of the things to do is, one, their training process for officers, new recruits and existing officers, should community members like myself and others like myself should be a part of the process of police training throughout their entire career. By not having communities involved from the beginning, from the outset, and the middle and the end of their career, means that you're going to lack an understanding of cultural diversity. Many of these white officers don't come from local inner city areas. They don't come from the inner city areas. So they struggle to understand cultures. So that's one of the things. The other thing needs to be is that we need a psychological assessment done on officers joining and existing officers to root out officers that has racial bias or biases against the Black community or against young Black men. I think once we begin to have those things in place, and the retention of Black officers and the promotion of Black officers in senior, very senior positions, we're not going to see the changes, because they don't admit to institutional racism. And most of the senior figures, I think 99% of them, is white. So how are you going to make the changes? How are you going to engage and build relationships with the Black community when the structure itself doesn't even see the Black community in those kind of senior positions?
Really important points from you there, Sheldon. I wonder, just one question briefly before we have to go. Do you think there is a place at all for stop and search?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's a short-term answer. The long-term answer is that this is a societal problem. Why do young men want to carry knives, whether they be Black, white, or Asian? Why is it? Is there a fear of the gang culture? Is there a fear? And what I've been told by young men that I mentor, they have told me that they are in fear of their lives. They don't believe in the society. They don't feel they have a place in society. And if you look at the employment, you look at young people leaving university with degrees, most of these young Black men and women are leaving university and cannot get a job. So at the heart of the matter is, one, unless we look at the root causes as why young people want to carry weapons, because apparently it's part of the culture now. It's part of that life. And you've got social media promoting this lifestyle. So we have to address the root causes in these local communities and invest more money into these communities, because it's the investment that is needed for organizations like myself and others that can do this kind of work over a long-term period.